Going to keep things moving here. Second bout of the night, we're going to move to the bantamweight division. Sal DeSimone taking on Miguel Francisco. A couple of undefeated fighters here.
We got Sal coming in 2-0. Last competing a few months ago in November, a few hours up the road in Erie, Pennsylvania, taking on Miguel, who is 1-0 inside the cage. Competed back in December. Simone's coming to this fight. 2 wins, both rear naked choke.
Both rear naked choke. Both of these, again, a couple of young guys, 20 years old and 18 years old. Jazz Securo going to have the official introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next fight is brought to you by Rehab Center, chiropractors caring for health. It's in the PFC Bantamweight Amateur Division. Let's bring your fighters to the cage. Please welcome Salvatore DeSimone.
Salvatore DeSimone. That's an awesome, very Italian name, of course, in the Pittsburgh area, you know, proud Italian, Mark Chirico. And he's 2-0 on his career so far, fighting out of Coriopolis, Elite Combat Systems, 20 years old, 5'7", 135 pounds. And as you mentioned, 2 wins, both via rear naked choke. And I don't know, maybe this is another young Mark Chirico. I mean, that's how he made his name, rear naked Chirico. But I don't know if maybe got Mark Chirico on the brain here. He's going to be going to the Hall of Fame here later tonight. But the young guy, 20 years old, making his Pinnacle FC debut.
He's been training with Fadi Schumann and Daniel Haig, both of which compete later tonight. Fadi for the featherweight title.
This guy already 2-0, already ranked number 6 amateur bantamweight in Pennsylvania, according to Tapology. And we both work for Bluegrass MMA. They provide awesome rankings for us. And also already ranked number 38 in the Northeast. So 2-0, he's looking to make his way up those bantamweight rankings. That's a really deep weight class. And we will see later on tonight the Pinnacle bantamweight title doled out. So maybe one of these guys, maybe in the future, might be in line for a title shot with a win on a big fight card here.
Absolutely. Although his teammate, Daniel Haig, is fighting for that bantamweight title. So we might not see that matchup if Sal wins tonight in the future.
Yeah, doing a little bit of cross-training. Jazz Securo going to go ahead and bring out his opponent.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome his opponent to the cage. Here is Miguel Francisco.
Miguel Francisco, nicknamed Mestizo, 18 years old. Made his amateur MMA debut back in December. Got a submission win, rear naked choke. Take a look here at the tail of the tape. Neither one of these guys can even buy a drink here after this fight. See 5'7" Sal DeSimone, 5'8" Miguel Francisco. Neither guy has a loss thus far. All 3 wins, as you mentioned, via rear naked choke. So might be expecting to see this one get to the ground here.
And as the old cliche goes, someone's O's gotta go.
And Miguel Francisco, a 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu product out of Washington, Pennsylvania. A blue belt actually in 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, and also a 3rd degree black belt in Tang Sudo, which is a traditional martial arts style. And said he really looks up to a guy like Manny Pacquiao, wants to be like what Manny Pacquiao was, but for MMA. 18-year-old guy, definitely got a ton of hype and great future ahead of him, but got a really tough fight here in Sal DeSimone.
It's going to be a great matchup. I like tough matchups this early on in their career because it gets the jitterbugs out of their system, and you're also competing against tough opponents now, so you're more likely going to fight tougher opponents later instead of taking the easy road.
Exactly, yeah. That's definitely when you're fighting for a top-level promotion like this, you know that you're going to have tough opponents. There's no easy fights when you're fighting for a Pinnacle. I mean, this is definitely not the first time 2 undefeated fighters have squared off, and it won't be the last. Miguel Francisco in the cage. Jazz Securo going to have the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is brought to you by Rehab Center, chiropractors caring for health. We're scheduled for 3 rounds in the PFC Amateur Bantamweight Division. And now, introducing on my right, fighting out of the blue corner. His record is perfect with 2 victories and 0 defeats. Standing 5 feet 7 inches tall, weighing 136 1/2 pounds, representing Elite Combative Systems, fighting out of Coriopolis, Pennsylvania. Introducing Salvatore DeSimone. His opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. His record is also perfect with 1 victory and no defeats. Standing 5 feet 8 inches tall, weighing 135 pounds, representing 10th Planet Fitness Jiu-Jitsu, fighting out of Washington, Pennsylvania. Introducing Miguel Mestizo Francisco. Your referee is Chip Snyder.
Amateur bantamweight action here. Pinnacle FC 16, Salvatore DeSimone in the black and red. Miguel Francisco in the black and white. Chip Snyder, third man in the cage for this one. Couple of southpaws coming out, Juan. Oh, big right hand clipped him, DeSimone. And he's got to watch, can't throw strikes to the head. Definitely is throwing him to the chest, though. Almost think that DeSimone, you might want to see him back off, and man, he clipped him with that right hand.
Francisco just wasn't protecting his stomach at all. Just kept his hands up, wasn't defending any of the strikes.
Oh, and Francisco eats another shot, but lands a big left hand of his own. Nice throw
with the hip toss there.
Man, this guy, 20 years old, he's impressive thus far. 45 seconds, less than 45 seconds into this fight, and he has shown a lot already. Big slam there from DeSimone. Man, that cross-training with some of the best fighters in the area. Fadi Schumann, Daniel Egg. I like to see that from a young guy. We were talking about that a little bit earlier, Juan. The Pittsburgh guys all seem to cross-train with each other, and that seems to help out a young guy like that. You see the rubber guard here from Miguel Francisco. That is, of course, the calling card, I think the signature move of 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. Eddie Bravo.
Sal with another big slam there.
Yeah, he's definitely not playing jiu-jitsu here on top. And again, this is a tough position. I know that you don't want to see a guy get, demolished in ground and pound, but it teaches Miguel Francisco that he doesn't have to protect his head. As you mentioned, when he was eating those shots to the chest, he wasn't even protecting his chest really. Back to the feet here, and I think that DeSimone might be happy with that. 20 seconds here in round number 1. And Francisco eats another big right hand and another throw. Man, Francisco has got to keep those hands up. He got clipped 3 times already in this first round. And this is going to be into the first round, and that's pretty close, I think, to a 10-8 round. He definitely got dropped within a few seconds, and just it's hard to be able to do that enough damage to call it a 10-8 round. I think it's probably going to be a 10-9, but man, that was a dominant round there from DeSimone.
That was, yes, a very, very impressive round. And you can see those slams coming about. He's wrestling in high school, using that wrestling there to pick up Miguel from the ground, slam him back down, to try to break him off so he can land those strikes to the stomach, went to the midsection, utilizing what he can because he can't go to the head.
Take a look at the replay. I believe this is going to be that right hand right off the bat. Right hook, check right hook, boom. And Francisco looked like he recovered pretty quickly. I don't think he was completely out, but again, you see that fight potentially could have been finished by DeSimone if he would have been able to throw strikes to the head.
Oh, absolutely.
I think if you're Miguel Francisco's corner, you tell him you got to keep those hands up, man. You got clipped 3 times in that first round. And through DeSimone, I think you'd say just keep doing the same stuff. Francisco looking to try to throw a hook of his own. A lot more of a feeling out process here in the second round, and this is tough because they've only got 2 minutes. Spinning back fist lands, and another hip toss. You see those hips there from DeSimone. As you mentioned, you can definitely see the wrestling background, and when they get to the ground like this, it's looks like it's a wrestling versus jiu-jitsu, and a lot of times jiu-jitsu guys are way too comfortable off of their back, and if you're a wrestler that can avoid getting submitted, you're going to end up winning the fight. And You see here the high guard. See Francisco grabbing on. Maybe looking to try to lock in a omoplata or gogoplata, excuse me.
He's working towards it. Sal's doing a good job of keeping his head down.
It's tough. I mean, he doesn't have enough space to try to throw up the triangle here. DeSimone doing a good job here, posturing, seeing those strikes to the midsection. Again, this is, for me, a lot of times it's like watching a different sport sometimes with the unable to throw the strikes to the head, and Chip Snyder going to stand him up here. Again, it just doesn't seem like the same sport. You know, when you got the shin guards and you've got basically a big part of a lot of fighters' game taken out of it, it's hard to watch sometimes.
It is. It's almost like a modified pancrase fight.
Nice throw there. And that looked like it might have taken the wind out of Miguel Francisco. And this, at this point, seems like to be, I mean, at least in the grappling realm, to be a pretty a mismatch here, as DeSimone was looking to maybe try to get an armbar there.
Again, 2 rounds going now for Sal as we head into the 3rd round.
Impressive young guy out of Elite Combat Systems, Coraopolis, suburb of Pittsburgh. And again, another guy just 20 years old. Man, these guys are, it seems like every year we've got more and more, another young crop of guys. Salvatore DeSimone looks to be another impressive guy here, making his debut for Pinnacle FC.
I want to put you in Miguel Francisco's shoes right now. You're sitting in the corner. Do you feel you're down 2 rounds? Does the coach tell you that you're down 2 rounds?
I think you are, and you definitely, especially after you look at that hip toss right there, you got to think. I think after you get put on your back like that, you probably know that you're down 2 rounds.
Now, what would your game plan be coming into the 3rd round here?
You know, you got to go for the knockout. I think that if you're on the ground, he's a heavy guy on the ground, and it's going to be tough to cement him off your back, especially with those shin guards.
Let's see what he does as we head into the 3rd round here.
Probably got to go for broke in the striking round. 2-minute round here, round number 3. See the embrace there. See DeSimone, good job. Good head movement. Nice kick there to the body for DeSimone. Minute 30 left to go here in round number 3. Another throw there.
That was a beautiful hip toss.
You saw DeSimone just immediately look for that and almost telegraph it, but Francisco just kind of walked right into it. Reminded of Ronda Rousey. I mean, if she could get anywhere near you, back in the day, she was pretty much throwing you. You see DeSimone again trying to play with that high guard.
There's a few heavy right shots there.
And Miguel Francisco looks like he's hurt here. And these aren't strikes to the head, but it's definitely taken the wind out of Miguel Francisco.
Any professional fighter will tell you that body shots, they do in fact hurt.
Especially when, I mean, there's nowhere for the air to go out of your body when you're just on the mat and punch like that. DeSimone, under 30 seconds left to go here in round number 3. Gets back to his feet. Working those right hands there to the midsection, the solar plexus.
Smart move from Sal. Thought he was in danger, stood back up to his feet.
Just teeing off there, and Francisco really not doing too much to try to block those. Into the fight there. Great performance by Sal DeSimone. Looks like he's going to move up to 3-0 on his career.
Definitely impressive showing for him. This kid has a bright future.
Yeah, as we mentioned, just 20 years old.
His next fight, he'll be able to move into the amateur advanced division.
Exactly.
we can really see how effective he is. If he was that tonight, this fight could have been ended way sooner.
We're going to see this throw again here. Nice throw. And ends up on top again. If he hit at least 3 or 4 nice throws in that fight, at least 1 in each round. Impressive performance there.
I have it on my scorecards, 30-27 across the board.
I think I got to agree with you. We'll see what the judges think. Jazz Sekiro has the official result.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of fighting, we once again go to your judges' scorecards for your winner. Judges Todd Kruska, David Gation, and James Corley all see the fight 30-27. For your winner by unanimous decision, Salvatore DeSimone.
Exactly what we expected. Salvatore DeSimone with the win, 3-0.
One shot.
Be really interesting to see him move up to the advanced amateur ranks and see what type of opponent he takes on in his next fight.
Absolutely.